Welcome to the VMware session, accelerating your cloud journey with Azure VMware Solution. My name is Greg Setanich, and I lead the Azure VMware Solution business for VMware across Australia and New Zealand. As many of you know, Microsoft and VMware have a history of being competitors, but increasingly today, we are really becoming true partners. It's a partnership that has only grown stronger in the last few years, as VMware's aspirations and Microsoft's aspirations about working together on a cloud journey for many of our customers is becoming more aligned. With Azure VMware Solution, we have taken this collaboration and partnership to a new level. So what is Azure VMware Solution, or AVS as it's known for short? AVS is a first-party service which is delivered by Microsoft and certified by VMware. Simply, AVS allows you to run VMware workloads natively on Azure. Think of AVS as VMware as a service on dedicated infrastructure, which is run and operated by Microsoft. AVS empowers customers to seamlessly extend for multi-cloud or completely migrate out of their existing on-prem data centers without the cost, effort, or risk of having to refactor applications or retool operations. It also provides customers with a consistent framework and experience across infrastructure, operations, and the developer model. This next slide provides a high-level overview on AVS in terms of the on-prem relationship with Azure Cloud. As you can see, the left-hand side illustrates a typical data center running a three-tier architecture with VMware. In the middle, you will note an express route, which provides the connectivity required between on-prem and Azure. On the right-hand side, it illustrates an Azure environment running an instance of AVS. As you can see, the AVS instance consists of VMware Cloud Foundation, which is made up of vCenter, vSAN, NSXT, and HCX. All of this natively connects via the Azure Backbone network into the rich native adjacent services Microsoft have to offer, such as AD, security, PaaS, and also storage services. And all of this provisioned and managed out of the Azure portal. So let's talk about some of the challenges that we see with cloud migration today. So what we have found is that customers believe that they can move into cloud native quickly. However, this is not a reality. They are faced with a number of challenges. Firstly, risk of business disruption due to network changes, application cutover, and also changes to the existing operating model and processes. Secondly, the in-house ability and skills to support cloud native applications and operations. And lastly, the cost, time, and complexity of having to refactor applications, which is a huge barrier for a lot of customers we talk to today. So how can AVS resolve these challenges? Well, AVS accelerates the customer's journey to cloud, eliminating the requirement to refactor to get to cloud native. AVS is cloud native. What we have found is many customers are taking a migrate to modernize approach. So migrate first, realize the economic savings that can help you fund some of your application modernization. Then once you're in Azure, you've got access to a host of Microsoft services for a more rapid application development or application modernization. Another benefit of AVS is, as I mentioned before, there is no need to reskill or retool. Leverage the same skills and people you use today to manage the on-prem environment in AVS. And lastly, from Microsoft licensing standpoint, bring your own license into AVS, whether it's Windows Server or SQL, and also gain free extended security support for legacy workloads such as SQL 2008 and Windows Server 2008. In terms of use cases, these are typically the four that we see. The first one is around data center expansion and also data center exit. We're also seeing customers that are facing hardware refresh or a software renewal. The second one is around disaster recovery and business continuity. AVS is a good target from a DR standpoint and is also in the process of being certified to work with SRM, which is not too far away. Thirdly is around the speed and simplification of migration. Typically, we see migrations to AVS take days or weeks versus native migrations, which can take months or even years in some cases. And also application modernization. So migrate first and then take advantage of some of the modern adjacent services that Microsoft have to offer. So what's included as part of the service? So from a software standpoint, VMware Cloud Foundation, obviously compute, vCenter, vSAN, NSXT, and HCX, that's all included. From a compute standpoint, these are high-performing HCI nodes with 36 cores, 576 gig of RAM, 15 terabytes of usable storage, over 3 terabytes of high-speed NVMe cache, and 2 25 gig network ports. It's a minimum of 3 nodes per cluster. That's the minimum commitment, and a maximum of 16 nodes per cluster. In terms of a private cloud, a maximum of 64 nodes per private cloud. So if we look at it from a responsibility matrix, so what are the control boundaries? So the stuff in blue is what Microsoft provide as part of the service, and the boxes in gray is what the customer owns. So if we look at it from a deployment standpoint, Microsoft will deploy all the way up to vSAN or half of HCX. And the customer's responsibility is obviously the on-prem HCX configuration, virtual machines, guest OS, and applications. From a lifecycle management standpoint or day 2 operations, Microsoft will patch and troubleshoot all the hardware and also the VMware software stack. From a configuration standpoint, Microsoft will deploy the basic configuration of hardware and the VMware stack. And it's the customer's responsibility to configure, obviously, the networking, storage, virtual machines, guest OS, and applications. So, so the software, the hardware, and the boxes in blue is what is included as part of the monthly subscription. So let's talk about the interface. So as I discussed, AVS is built on VMware Cloud Foundation, but is tightly integrated with Azure to provide the best of Azure and VMware. With AVS, vCenter and the vSphere client provides the same experience and tools for management and configuration that your admin teams are familiar with today. AVS avoids the learning curve associated with public cloud and provides the level of control that customers expect with VMware. Finally, integration with Azure provides simplicity in scaling the cluster and management of security, including key management and event logging. Now let's look at the end-to-end integration. So AVS offers a great number of opportunities to lower costs when used in combination with AVS. Some services go hand in hand with AVS and allow savings with minimum change to AVS workloads. These include storage offload, SQL database services, and logging, for example. Once workloads are migrated to AVS, the adjacencies to Azure PaaS provides an opportunity to detach and modernize applications to take advantage of the latest cloud technologies and APIs. And finally, advanced security offerings are available, including gateway firewall services, advanced load balancing, advanced logging, and VPN gateway. So let's talk about support. So it's pretty simple. Microsoft, it's a single point. Microsoft is the single point of contact. So if there is an issue or a problem, you call Microsoft. If Microsoft need to engage VMware to resolve the issue, they will do that in the back end without any requirement for the customer to get involved. So as I said, this is verified and supported by VMware as well. Now, finally, let's look at, I guess, some of the pricing benefits. So, there's three ways that this service helps customers reduce cost. The first one is around free extended security updates. So, moving those Windows Server 2008 workloads and SQL 2000 workloads into AVS, you get free support for those workloads and updates. The second one is around the Azure hybrid benefit. So, bring your own licenses to AVS, being Windows Server and SQL. And lastly is around reserved instances. So, if you do commit to 1 year, it's 30% off the pay-go price. If you commit to 3 years, it's actually 50% of the pay-go price. So, all in all, there's three ways that AVS is helping our customers drive down the cost of the public cloud. That's it for me. Thanks so much for your time today, and look forward to speaking to you guys soon. Scott, over to you.
Thanks very much, Greg, and thanks to VMware for allowing Data3 to present with you today at our JuiceIT event. My name's Scott Gosling. I'm the National Practice Manager of Microsoft Solutions here at Data3, and it's my pleasure to co-present with VMware today to talk about the AVS solution. Greg talked about application refactoring and complexity, and we continually reinforce with our clients that migration to cloud isn't just a lift and shift event. So it's great to use the AVS solution to move those VMware workloads and operate those in the cloud, but that then presents the opportunity to look at those advanced services, but also to begin that review of those applications and what refactoring might look like in the medium term. So the AVS solution is a great opportunity to lift those workloads into the cloud and provide that real transparent hybrid between on-prem and cloud, but also to start looking at that beyond lift and shift opportunity as well. We see a lack of transformation in clients, especially when they're moving to cloud as well. So they're not leveraging those advanced services. You can leave your VMware estate running in the AVS solution, but then you can start to look at those advanced services that Azure provides to look at how that you can then support your organization's transformation. So that might be looking at IoT solutions if you run process control networks or have a large fleet of devices that can actually pump out data. It could be looking at data and analytics to take those IoT feeds and make intelligent decisions on it. It could be blockchain if you need to have proof of custody and proof of stake. So there's all sorts of different opportunities there around transformation that cloud unlocks. And what we see with clients is they get to cloud, but they don't really look at those opportunities to support transformation. We also see a lack of cloud skills, and to Greg's point before, using your VMware skills and using those in AVS is a great opportunity, but that then also allows the team to have that time to start picking up their cloud skills, because data center skills don't directly translate to cloud skills. And ultimately then there's cost. And I'm going to talk about cost in the upcoming slides around clients spending too much in cloud and not having those disciplines around an operate model in a cloud environment. So Data3 has delivered over 200 health checks across our client base, and we've seen 7 common issues that our clients struggle with in their cloud. The first is that when they've established their Azure landing zone, which Azure in subscription sits beside the AVS bare metal environment, are tightly connected. And in those landing zones that are established in Azure, there's a lack of best practice, and that could be how subscriptions align to the organization structure. There's too many subscriptions. They're not using tagging effectively. So there are some real gaps in disciplines around best practices that align to Microsoft's cloud adoption framework and their well-architected framework about how landing zones are established. We also see clients have way too many administrative accounts. That is a massive risk for organizations where, if those administrative accounts are compromised, your entire Azure subscription and topology is actually also compromised at that point. So actively trying to minimize the amount of administrative accounts and also making sure subscriptions are configured correctly is really important. We do see clients spending too much when they get to cloud because they've bought those data center disciplines that I talk about and bought that to a pay by the minute cloud world, and they just don't translate. We've seen clients, and an example would be a client spending $100,000 per month in cloud, but 70,000 of that 100,000 spend is actually due to the fact they haven't configured their subscriptions in their environment correctly, and that's a wasted cost. So they're spending 70,000 of that 100,000 more than they should be, when their true cost is only $30,000, and that is actually easy it's easy to happen when you don't understand things like Azure hybrid use benefit, reserved instances, right sizing, burst when required. So the cloud spend is actually a discipline in itself. And we're seeing a rise in a new discipline called FinOps, supporting IT teams and finance teams to make sure that spend is correct. Security risk is a major issue when we move to cloud, because the cloud policies that our security team for our security practice actually encourages clients to have, all that policy and governance should follow to cloud. The same disciplines around things like firewall, rule sets, zero trust principles, all of that follows to cloud, and clients unfortunately aren't following those disciplines when they go to cloud. We're seeing clients with public facing IP addresses with no firewalls on those protecting those ports. So there's issues there in security, and also there's a great environment called Azure Security Center that's presented to clients, and they're just not looking in there. There's also opportunities with things like security for Azure Sentinel as a SIEM product to actually provide monitoring across all that environment, and even providing automated response using artificial intelligence to support operations teams. And to that point, we're seeing overworked operations teams missing alerts. Our security practice talk about the elegance of simplicity and trying to reduce all those consoles so that operations teams, especially in the security space, but also in infrastructure support, aren't missing those critical alerts as they come through. And something like a Sentinel as a SIEM product is really great to try and tune out that noise and really put in front of the operations teams what's important. So those points there, I've just talked about why we're excited by AVS. So AVS is a fantastic opportunity because you get a dedicated tenant on bare metal Azure infrastructure that allows you to take your VMware environment and move it into Azure. I think the other one that Greg talked to, which is actually a really important point, is the simplified support experience. You don't have to go calling multiple parties. You've got one single point of contact, which is Microsoft, so your support teams can engage. And also, if you elect to engage Data3 as a managed service provider, like many of our customers are these days, as your Azure managed service provider, we've got that back-end connection into Microsoft as well to support our customers. So what are the next steps? We recommend, and we've worked with Microsoft and VMware to build a pre-approved statement of work to support you, our customer, to move to AVS. And there's a funding potentially available, terms and conditions apply, with a predefined statement of work to support standing up that AVS environment and support beginning of that transition. So if you're interested in that offer, please reach out to me. My name's Scott Gosling, as I said at the start, and my email address there is scott_gosling@data3.com.au, and you can connect with me on LinkedIn. So if that offer is interesting to you, please reach out to me. It's an exclusive offer with Microsoft and VMware. We're an approved partner for AVS, and we're working nationally with Microsoft on supporting that AVS transition across that client base. So in summary, we think the AVS solution is a fantastic opportunity for a VMware customer to look at their modernization and cloud transition. We think that it's a great first step to pick those VMware workloads up, move them to AVS without the effort to modernize, and that then buys you the time to start looking at those modernization opportunities across your application portfolio over time. It also supports you with those. You might have end-of-life workloads and a risk profile that you need to get that into cloud, so you've got a level of support and protection around that workload, so you can look at that medium-term modernization roadmap as well. So the AVS solution on bare metal in Azure is a fantastic opportunity, and we strongly encourage you to look at that opportunity with Data3 to move you to the AVS solution. With that, Greg and the VMware team, thanks for allowing me to present with you, and enjoy the rest of JuiceIT. Thanks for your time.